Okay, so a couple pieces here. It seems maybe a little bit confusing at first, but it shouldn't be. We should be able to get this on. So first thing is first, there's this bracket here. I'm gonna be using a 14 to 24 lens. So super wide. Obviously it's got a built-in lens hood. So what that means is I can't thread a filter thread on it. So I have a collar piece here. Now this was on the other port, so I just took it off. And you basically just screw it into the first plate here, which is not that difficult. Okay, make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so that's on there. And they might come out with different, this is from the other port, so I might, I think I'm just waiting to get a different collar. But it looks like it fits fine. So, got my Nikon Z 7 here. So I take the Outex cover. I don't want to scratch the back of my LCD screen, so let's just use that. Okay, got the cover. Pull it over the lens. Super easy. When they switch from the blue covers to these silicone, or not silicone, but to these clear covers, it really made a difference in terms of stretchability and whatnot. So now I'm not going to worry about the cover. We'll just let it sit there for a little bit as we do our next step. So I like on this Nikon 14 to 24 lens, I like to drop the bracket, the first stage of the front port. I like to drop it down. So it's basically going to sit as far down as I can on that lens barrel. That kind of pushes my lens a little bit more forward into the glass dome. So what you do is that there's a Allen key screw here. So you get it down. I kind of try to line it up. I should just probably draw on this lens with a marker. Okay. I used to use the gold line on this lens, but then I started dropping it down a little further and I got more clarity. Especially in those split pictures I like to do. So above and below. Okay, so tighten that. You don't have to do anything too crazy. On there, it's not going anywhere. So that's the first level. Now what you do is you take the silicone cover and you put it over top of the grooves here. You see those? See that little lip? Put it over top of that. Actually, just to let you know, as a kind of like a little hot tip, I actually like to take a little bit of gaffer's tape and put it on these edges. Just protect, you know, everything as much as possible. So. If I have a couple days shoot, I usually would just do this in the hotel the night before, and then it would stay on. I'd just keep everything rinsed, and it would just stay on during my shoot. Now, it's over that lip, so I like to pull it down so it's all even, because what's going to happen is the next bracket that goes on is going to create the seal between, or one of your first seals between your Outex cover. I've got dog hair all over this cover. I can't escape it. All right. Sweet. Do you see that? The thin, there's a kind of a thick lip on the Outex cover. So now it's sitting on that plate there. You see? So this is my first time setting this up, so I'm kind of going through it at the same time you guys are. But it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so you have 3 brackets here. And it might seem like a lot, but it's not. It's just the way you can attach the cover to the dome and keep everything all waterproof. So it looks like, I believe, the biggest bracket, which is the final bracket that attaches to the dome port, that gets dropped on, I think. Then to create the seal along here, this just kind of holds it in place, okay? See that? It just kind of sits there. And then you take bracket number 1, which is the smallest one. It's a little like this. It's kind of the same idea for all their other kind of glass, where you're creating the seal by putting the pressure down on the case. So, turning it. I'm not going to over crank it yet. Right next to me. Okay. So, you put the key in the little keyhole machine to fit. Look at that. How easy is that? Much easier than the Allen key situation before. Okay, I mean, that's on there pretty good. I can't imagine that that wouldn't create a seal. And again, you know, you never need to over crank these. And I always check them throughout my shoot. Okay, that's on there. Definitely on there. So, next situation, you take your big old port, pop it on, looking good. And then you take this bottom one. It can be a little finicky, so I usually just flip it. Whenever I'm doing the port, I usually just flip it. I've got it on a protective case here. Okay, and I'm just turning it. So, the deal is with this one, which is, they told me, is there's this outer ring here that does not move, but you can put this, one of the keys in the outer ring to hold it. Then you can take the key, put it on the inner ring, and basically just allows you to hold it. I am right-handed, so I'd have to do it in my left. Woo! Very precarious what I'm doing here. I usually would be like posted up on the floor, sitting on the floor and doing this. I find it's always the easiest. So one thing I forgot to mention is they put an O-ring now that's attached on the inside of the main dome port. It sits in there. You don't have to add it. So this is pretty cool. I mean, so look, I'm holding this one, kind of putting force in the opposite direction, but turning it this way, turning it clockwise. There you go. It's pretty great. Pretty snugged up in there. There's the port. Now we don't have those screws on the inside. So the screws, I was always worried about reflection. So we're always worried that I'd maybe get the screws in the dome. And, you know, I had someone mention to me the other day, they were asking about the Outex housing. How do they get the reflection out of the their images? They get, like, the reflection. You know, the Icolite housing, now this is the old dome port from my Icolite housing. I would get the reflection of the lens barrel in this thing all the time. Icolite sends you, you can, you know, get the special attachments. It is annoying as hell. So, I'd never had the issue with the Outex. 14 to 24 mil lens in there, okay? This is on the Z7. And finally, this great mirrorless attachment. Basically, sorry that I'm shaking the camera. This is a kind of a rough cut video. I'm gonna do a better one at a later date. But I thought I would just do a real quick one to show you because I was so excited. Okay, so this just screws onto the bottom. All right, you see it there? Sits over top. So what's so great about the Outex system is if I want to switch cameras, throw this on my Pro Body, my D4S, throw it on my Sony A6500. If I want to throw it on my Nikon D800, D850, D700, whatever, I can. I don't need to go and buy a new housing. I just have to attach maybe 1 or 2 different attachments. Easy peasy. Check it. Sorry I'm bouncing that camera around. I'll do this in my lap. Okay, so same thing as the front. You just put your cover onto the lip of the threads there. And if you've never seen these Outex systems, there's like a groove there. You can just see it there, okay? That sits down, and that's what creates that seal on top of the cover. You know, and you always do your dunk test. Make sure you Don't have all bubbles and crap coming out. And there you have it. The new 180 port from Outex. Prototype is done. This is the real deal. Comes with 2 keys, which are super easy. It's just like I had to carry around Allen keys before. Before I had to carry around the O-rings. Don't need to do that anymore. I used to have to carry around this bag of screws. Don't need to do that. I think that they've done a phenomenal job in designing this. I'm very happy. I wasn't sure what direction they were going to go when it came to machining it, but check that out. Beautiful port, beautiful system. Feels good on the Nikon Z7. And also I had someone asking the other day about dials and maneuverability of dials and functions in the camera. As you can see on my mirrorless here, I'm turning the knob. I have no issues with, see, functionality through this cover. You can see it moving the shutter speed there. Easy peasy. So from here, what I usually do is then the last step is I put the neck strap system on. So if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me a message. Ask away. Ask Outex any questions.